Be good. Be very good.
I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, people? How you doing? It is a great day. I'm so very excited to be here, and I got and okay, wait, hold on a second. I got to go back and make sure that I say this correctly. A filmmaker, actor, producer, and musician. Jesse Dorian's here today with me, and we're going to be talking about a film that he has started, that he is finishing. This is amazing because we kind of clicked on this rudimentary ADHD thing that we don't want to do certain things because it just takes up our time. And why should we do it in the first place? But I want to welcome him to the show. Thank you so much, Dorian, for joining us.
Oh
But
yeah.
tell me, how did you begin your journey as the multifaceted entertainer that you are?
I guess I began my journey by liking too many things and not having enough time for all of them. Not realizing how much I was actually interested in until I was because I am ADHD. I was diagnosed late in life. I was diagnosed at 29. So my whole 20s were a mess, like a big mess. And that's when I filmed this movie. I was 24 years old when I filmed it, and I star
Mm,
in the movie, or I'm the co-lead of the movie. I wrote it.
mm,
I wrote the screenplay, co-produced it, directed. I feel like the reason I wound up being the director is because I couldn't afford a director, so I had to direct it. Took on all these jobs. It was terrifying at the time. I was living in Austin when I filmed it. I've been in LA for about a year and a half now.
Wow, wow. You know, ADHD, I know what that is because I have it too. And it's like you have these projects that you pick up because you can do it
Yeah.
and then you don't want to finish it.
So the trick is like you go. I learned this about, or I figured it, not learned it, but I figured it out about five years ago. Is to kind of stop trying to like come up with new things or create things, and you stop and you look at all the things you started and didn't finish, and you go back to them, and you could have like abandoned or quit working on them for a number of reasons, multitude of reasons, but like you go back and look at them, and then which ones are going to be the easiest to finish, and then which
Mhm.
ones are going to take the least amount of time, or which ones seem like where the end feels obtainable, um, on those projects. And then you kind of just go around, start topping off all the things you started, and before you know it, you
Yeah.
have this whole other line of creative projects that you can tally that you finished, and that you can present to people depending on what it is. That's I feel like the real secret is to kind of stop trying to come up with new things, and then just like look at all the things, because you'll probably never run out of things that you started that you didn't finish.
Yeah.
Because I have a music project called Imitate Invertebrate, and I compose everything. So I write all the music. It's like industrial pop rock. It's a genre hybrid. It's a blend of different music genres. And I finished 2 tracks, and I recorded them in studio. I write the lyrics, and I sing all the I'm the vocals, and uh, and then I compose everything on virtual instruments, using like a digital audio workstation. And but I don't have like a bandmate or like a co-producer. I just do all of it, and I organize every song structure, and then I recorded 2 songs. I've started about 22 songs, but I
Mm.
finished 2, is what I'm saying. Like so like some of
Yeah.
those are so close to being finished, it's ridiculous. Like I basically just have to lay down vocals, and then that's it. And then there's other ones where like I at least have a foundation. It just at least has an identity. People could hear it and have an idea of what I'm going for.
Mhm.
So, but like, that's a double album that I've
It is.
started, and that is on the back burner because I'm dealing with all the film stuff.
Yeah.
And while all that was going on, or while the songs were going on, I was uh, that was like right before COVID lockdown. That's how far back that goes.
Wow.
And then like this is when I was living in San Antonio. That was where I was last place I was living before I moved to LA a year and a half ago. And I lived in Austin, San Antonio, and then I came here. But like when I was recording like stuff at home in my work, my home studio, and COVID happened, and I had to take care of my elderly father, who was a disabled veteran. He passed away in 2023, but I was his caregiver back like then while I was building a studio in the house he and I were sharing, and um, like I became so preoccupied with that, and I started like the world was so crazy, was getting really crazy, and so I started using that time to, I think, to cope with that by creating my own memes and stuff, like my own brand of dark comedy and satire. I do a lot of satire, a lot of satirical leaning content, and um, then people started giving me compliments for those, and they were like, "You should like sell those designs." And then one thing led to another, and then I started an e-commerce store, and I was designing everything at first, and then I had a friend, she joined later, and she started designing half the things for me. And so I was running an e-commerce store, had all these screenplays that I hadn't and like looked at in years, that I started revising, and then I had this music project that I still had songs I hadn't completed, and it just like
It
it gets
snowballed.
out of control.
Yeah, it does. It does. And
Yeah,
so I agree with you that you have to stop and kind of reflect and look back.
yeah,
It's difficult to finish it because there has to be a sensation of urgency, especially in
yeah.
ADHD, where you have a time limit. Do you put a time limit on yourself now?
No, no, I used to, and then that I realized that was just stressing me out to put an to just put like an imaginary time limit, or just some random time. I mean, I understand the logic behind that, but I mean, I just go, but it's fake anyway. It's not even a real, like, it doesn't really matter if I follow it or not. I'm going to punish myself because I didn't meet the deadline for something that really has no consequence. If I immediate, sorry, that's caramels. Um, yeah, like, so I didn't, like, I stopped doing that because it was just stressing me out, and I still wasn't getting the things done. They get done when they're done, basically, or if I was contracted to do it or something, that's another story, obviously. But if I'm doing it on my time, and I'm not doing it with any real, end game in sight for it, then it's like I just have to, I can finish things on my, obviously, without um some sort of like deadline. Like, I have 9 screenplays that I've
Mm,
written. They're all those are that are actually finished. Not
mm.
I've started probably 3 times that many. But nine's pretty good.
That is really good. 9 is
And
really
yeah,
good.
they're all
Wow.
features. They're all feature screenplays. Like,
Are they out?
no, like, well, the one of them is the one I directed that I
Mhm.
abandoned. But like we filmed that whole movie. I had a professional crew and everything, and
Wow.
it was but I had a nervous breakdown back then,
Mm,
and I had a and because I'm also bipolar, and I had a manic episode. That's also
mm.
something I wasn't diagnosed with until my mid-20s. After I filmed my movie, I wasn't, and so that, and because I wasn't properly medicated for ADHD, like, substance abuse goes hand in hand with bipolar disorder, and
Mm,
yeah, so it took you, and since again, all the people around me were not educated or knew how to give sound advice or sound like guidance of any kind, it took years and years to recover from something that could have taken, a small fraction of that time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I had to figure all those things out on my own, and
Wow.
yeah, and survive all of that. But
No,
that's
I'm glad you
again,
did.
yeah, that's another story also. But yeah, that inspired one of the movies one of the screenplays I wrote. The last one I started from scratch and finished, called
So,
Mortariosis. Hmm?
when are you putting those out?
When those,
Yeah.
they all have a different trajectory. All the screenplays,
Mhm.
some people are interested in like this one or that one, and then other people are not interested in those at all, but they like this other screenplay I have. And so
I say put them all out.
there's what the goal is, to have one of them break in so that the others follow right after, because
Mhm,
they're all consistent in their in praise from like different groups and like judges at film festivals,
mhm.
where they've all competed. They've all like, I have what I call my big 5 that don't include the one I directed. I my big five are the genre hybrid screenplays I have. They lean horror or science fiction. Um, they're some are more horror than science fiction, some are both. They all have a blend of dark comedy. They're all commentary. There's all some sort of social commentary, but they're intended to be mainstream commercial movies. But they take risks, and they've always been like that. They've always been kind of not afraid to be themselves, even if that offends some people here or there. They are what they are, and they are challenging, but at the same time, they're still entertainment first. Based they're not overly experimental. They are digestible narratives, but they have some challenging concepts around morality. And I don't typically write heroes or like good guys. I write anti-heroes and villains is typically um people who seem one way on, but then they seem one way, but then there's this other thing. The more screen time you spend with them, or like putting someone who's inherently evil in a position where they're forced to do good or something, and kind of shifting you don't really know how to feel about the audience may have conflicting feelings about them now. And that's the world, and then that's
Yeah.
how people are. It's never like nobody's just good all around, or it's just not realistic. And the more flawed your characters are, I feel like the easier and more genuinely flawed they are, the easier it is for people to identify with them. And that's kind of a big deal to I like, because when I watch movies, usually the ones where I can identify with the characters, if I'm not and if I'm not entertained by them, do I at
Right.
least identify with them, and vice versa? There's characters you don't identify. Like, I write a lot of characters people are not going to identify with, but they're fascinating, and because of their unconventionality, they're fascinating to other people, and you might be intrigued by what because of their unpredictability. You might not know what they're going to do next, and when that character is involved with this other character, and there's always something. There's a setup, and then there's what was it all about in the end, and there's plenty
Yeah.
to, I think, for the audience to assess with each screenplay. So my big five, one of them is called Donovan Emery, the Android and Himself, and it's a modern day adaptation of the picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. It's a sci-fi adaptation. It's the only thing I was ever personally approached to write, where they basically were like, hey, could you do this sci-fi, this modern day sci-fi interpretation of the picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde? And back then I was like, who's Oscar Wilde? And then I was like, I picked up the book, and I read it front to back in like 48 hours, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. And then I did, yeah, I adapted it, and I stayed true to the story structure for about the first 2/3, and then I just kind of dropped the following the basic story structure of this book from the 1890s, and then did my own thing with it. It's it's a spectacle. It's the only thing I've ever done that has real world building in it, from the get go, and I hadn't done anything like that before. That's the script that helped me find my voice as a writer. I feel, where I was kind of not afraid to write anything. I'll write whatever I want, and because before that I started writing in romantic drama and comedy, and then for some reason that's like, because I was a very emotional kid growing up, I guess, and so fantasy, or like I was like fascinated by romance and stuff like that, and just like the intricacy of like human relationships and romantic relationships, and so I did a lot of like either pure comedy or romantic drama, but like my biggest influence growing up was horror, and so it was kind of weird. I didn't pursue This was the first time I did something that was a graphic horror film, a graphic sci-fi horror film, and I just something clicked, and I just felt at home doing horror at that point, and it kind of makes the most sense for me. I'm the most comfortable writing that, and creating monsters, and uh, just misunderstood creatures. And I'm not the only one, obviously. maybe indulges in that. But there's a lot you can explore with humanity. I think that's more interesting than human romance at this point. But like, again, like you have to, I think it's a natural, you have to have a natural like gift or like a natural understanding of, how, what people find entertaining, what people, how people identify with characters in movies, what types of characters are people intrigued by,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if your story isn't captivating or whatever. But then, yeah, so Donovan Emery the Android in himself was like the first one of those. I had a nervous breakdown 2/3 through that script. So I was having a manic episode when I finished that screenplay. And the ending there, the last third of the screenplay, the third act is still like intact. And I was like out of my mind when I wrote it. And
Wow.
and then when you're manic, you kind of don't sleep and you just kind of keep working on stuff. And so I did out of my big five, I did the first four within about 6 months. I just kept it was completely. They're all about completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't like shared universes or anything necessarily. They could be, but that was never the intention. And then I wrote another one called Sven, and then the third one I wrote it's called As Scared as You, and then the fourth one I wrote is called The Four of Us Are Dying, and then the fifth one I wrote is Moratoriosis, and that's the first and that was the first screenplay I started and finished sober. Um, so like that was,
Wow.
and it was the wildest thing I'd written, and it was the
Wow.
darkest, just strangest thing. Ironically, getting
Wow.
sober helped me write the most pardon my language, the most bad shit crazy thing I could have probably conceived at that time, and it was from experiences of alcohol withdrawal and
Mm.
substance serious like really life-threatening substance abuse.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow. And then now you have the one that you're finishing, A
Yeah,
Closer Divide.
that was before I was doing the genre hybrid. Well, but I mean, I guess when you think about it, all my stuff is in a way genre hybrid because this was a drama when I wrote it. It was supposed to be like a straight drama when
Mhm.
I wrote the screenplay. I wrote it in about 5 weeks because I couldn't get funding for a different screenplay I wrote at that time. It was going to be too expensive to make this other thing I wrote. And so I wrote A Close Divide in about 5 weeks, like the first draft. And um, the woman that plays my lead, the woman that's plays my character's sister in the movie, she was consulting on the screenplay as I wrote it. But like when I wrote that, it was supposed to be a drama, and then we didn't really have the budget to make a drama. It didn't come out that way. It's a dark comedy.
Mm.
We didn't have a lot. We didn't have money for reshoots and stuff like that. And since that time's long since passed, it's the footage we have is what we have to work with. And after leaving it alone for so many years, never planning to come back to it, that it's weird when after you've been through things and you have more life experience, and then you go back and look at something and you just were stuck. You know exactly what to do with it at that point.
Yeah.
If you go back
Yeah.
to things you haven't looked at, or maybe there's too many things that are cringe about it, and you just like I feel everything of mine is cringe. I feel like I don't some of it if I overthink it or think about it too hard. I even if it, I kind of try to put, you know, uh, I try to put like being genuine in front of something that is more calculated or transactional with what an audience expects. I feel like the key when you write any story or present any narrative to any general audience is to not insult their intelligence.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm not interested in insulting their intelligence. I'm not interested in pandering, or like you. But I mean, again, it goes on. It's like that on both sides. It's like on the other side, it's like like challenging the audience is something that should be genuine. Also, like you don't play 20 questions with someone just to make them think. It's just this is what it is, and I'm not afraid to present it this way. And if it makes people think, so be it, or something like that. Or if it challenges people, oh well. instead of going, oh, maybe I shouldn't make this so challenging or something. And it's just finding the right balance of that while not, sacrificing the voice or identity of the project, or, in this case, like the movie or whatever. And so when I wrote, when A Close Divide was written, like if I had the budget, it would have been a drama because we could have done more takes. We could have shot more days. We could have had more time. I could have afforded to, for the crew and the actors to have more time to get certain things down, but we kind of had to just run in and do it and get it all right that one day. We didn't return to the same place, the same scene the next day and film it, well, let's try that again because it didn't work yesterday. Nope, that's what we have to work with. And I'm just gonna have to
Wow.
make it work. And it's amazing. Like the production could have, it had it gone better, the movie could have been finished years ago. So I wouldn't say it worked out. It did not work out like I was hoping, but also, thinking about it, it could have gone a lot worse, and it didn't. Like we still, like, everybody came to work, everybody showed up, everybody did their job, and regardless of what the audience thinks, what thing I think they will be able to tell is that, the crew and the cast actually cared about the project.
Mm.
And it shows. It wasn't just like a paid, it doesn't feel like that. And in this era where everyone's jobs feel like they're being threatened creatively, like a select few's inability to restrain the technology. They are advancing so quickly, too quickly. What my movie has going for it is it feels like it was made by people. It feels like
Yeah.
it was made by people, and the imperfections are part of the charm in a way. Like it feels authentic. It doesn't feel like we're trying to appease this demographic or that. It's actually about something. It's about something very real and very uncomfortable for people. And it was one of those scripts. When I wrote it, I was like, well, we can't really tell people what this is about. And like when we had auditions for the supporting roles, and we had quite a few auditions when we filmed in Austin, Texas. And then, but no one was allowed to know the plot was under wraps, and you weren't allowed to know what happens unless you got a role in the movie. And so
Wow.
we kept all that under wraps. And
That's cool.
yeah, because the film has a payoff. It actually pays off, and it's not just anticlimactic. And like I said, it is about something that I didn't realize I was tapping into, something that was a little. I don't want to say a few. A lot more people than I imagined identify with this thing that I tap into in the movie, and it's like an epidemic in this country, and I didn't realize that, and so I've been convinced that there is some importance to it that I maybe overlooked and didn't think that it was worth releasing, and now I feel like when I didn't look at the movie for like 5 or 6 years, and then I showed it to my friend, and she said you should finish it. Like I also realized I forgot how far I was in finishing the movie. I was so close, and um, I realized I was probably too hard on myself. Other people were too hard on me at the time, and I really underestimated what I had made, and for how much I had made it. Ironically, we live in this era where, like, movies, like, there's like, what's the big movie of the year? I mean, it's Obsession, because that movie was made for under $1 million, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even make a horror movie in this case, but it was like we filmed it all for like under 50 grand, but we filmed on mainstream equipment. We filmed on 4K in 2011. We filmed on a red Mysterium X camera, and like back then in 2011, it was a luxury to film in 4K.
Yeah.
It was a luxury, and that really got people's attention. That's why it was so easy to get people on board with the movie, because they're like, oh, this is going to be like a real movie, and it looks and feels like a movie. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a direct to VOD project. It felt like, it feels like it was made. It was shot it was shot in a way to where it would be best presented in a theater, in an auditorium. and like it's I can't really compare it to a lot of other things. It just it doesn't feel like anything. It's it feels different. It's hard to compare it to. I mean, I don't really even know. Like I know what I was people might be able to go, oh, well, you're influenced by this or that, and they might be right, filmmaker wise or whatever. When they see some of the techniques that are used, where there are techniques, because again, I was 24, and it was just amazing getting. It was all happening so fast. I couldn't really. We didn't have the budget to plan things like other productions get to back then. We just were like the stars aligned. It was like we can get these crew people at this time. We can also get these crew people, and that's everybody we need. And this is the only time we can do it. Like, or we gotta wait till next year or something. As I'm
Wow.
not going to raise any, I'm not going to be able to raise any more money to make the movie at that point. And so we just like ran in and did it, and it filmed it all in like 15 days. First unit was 15 days of filming. And I'm the co-lead of the movie.
Mhm.
So I have, you know, the most dialogue next to the my lead actress in the movie. Yeah, like so I having to remember all my own dialogue, which is not as hard when you don't have to direct the movie also, and
Yeah.
you when it's your first time and you don't really have anything in yeah, you don't really have any organization skills. Again, I was not even diagnosed with ADHD then, and so I was having to I was having to substance abuse and like as a way of coping, or like
Yeah.
able to keep my my head together. Ironically, yeah. So like yeah, it came out a dark comedy is what I'm trying to say. Like the long explanation for the question is it came out a dark comedy, and it is what it like it didn't need to be this thing where I was like, oh, I envisioned this thing and it's not this thing, therefore I don't like it. It's like no,
Mhm.
it the most important, I think the most important like question any any filmmakers should ask themselves is, are the people going to be bored? Are they going
I
to be
doubt
bored?
it.
No,
If
no.
it's
I mean,
dark
it's a
comedy,
rhetorical
no.
it's a rhetorical question. Like, I mean,
Oh, never
are
mind.
it's no, are they going to be bored?
Uh,
The filmmakers should ask themselves that.
oh,
You know, it doesn't have to entertain everybody. That's not like you can't please everybody. And it's finding that balance. Where I learned like whether something's funny intentionally or unintentionally doesn't matter because it's funny.
mhm.
If people are laughing, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's all you should really care about is if people are enjoying themselves. And
Mm.
I feel like the message will actually be even, it'll reach more people because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows when to take itself it's the subject matter is very serious, but it
Mhm.
handles it with nuance in places where it needs to,
Wow.
surprisingly. And I experiment a little with comedy and drama in it, but it
Mhm.
came out instead of being a drama with comedic elements, it came out a dark comedy with some dramatic elements. Is kind
So
of how.
how close are you to finishing it? Is it almost done? I mean, are you in the editing stage?
I mean, there's a 1 hour and 59 minute rough cut of the movie,
Mm.
and it's cohesive enough to where I could potentially like send somebody a link, and they could like this is the edit the last full edit I did, or updated rough cut edit I did was in December. So I'm going to do another one here, and I'm planning by the end of August to have like another. There's some audio I have to re-record, or I have to record in general. I won't set up the whole context for that, but it's a pivotal scene in the movie that I never had the audio for, and I have to record vocals for it.
Mm.
Not just ADR, but like vocals.
Mhm.
And have never had to record this part of the movie vocally before. It's not a musical, by the way. It's just
Mhm.
this is the one scene that is kind of like that, where my vocals are needed. That's what we planned 15 years ago. And before we filmed it, and my character sings in the movie. And before that, when we filmed it, I was not a professionally trained singer, and now I am. That also didn't. So I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm not scared to do this scene anymore. I was
Mhm.
terrified, but like I also had written it in a way where like if I sound bad, it works too.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah. Wow.
it'll benefit the story in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Wow.
I sound good, that's more preferred. But like now that I've had a singing coach for years, or I had one when I was still in San Antonio, and so like I'm a little excited to do that. But again, it's like I'm setting it all up and I'm doing it all alone, and I can't have anybody interrupting me, and it's like a process getting all that organized and then figuring out how I'm going to do it to where it's like believable in the movie. That's like the big thing I have left to do, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do I'm after like I do that scene and I make a couple of more cuts um, to another big scene. I think it's ready to send to like like not a distributor, but like a production company to help like finish, like kind of like, smooth out the edges and make the film. It right now it's presentable, but it's not
Right.
releasable. And it's been
But
presentable for a while now.
when is it going to be releasable? That's what I
I
want to know,
I
because
mean, if I have my way, it'll be releasable by the end of the year or next year.
that's good. That's good.
I
'Cause
am aiming.
I
I do
want to
have a
see it.
general idea.
Now I'm putting pressure on you because I
That's
want to
okay.
see it.
I should have some pressure on me from people that aren't me, because I think, because I think I'm a joke, so I don't really can't convince myself to take myself seriously sometimes.
Well, you're on
And
the podcast, and people now are going to be like, well, when is it coming out? I want to see it, because
yeah,
we need to support each other. So now that I know that you have your movie, or
yeah,
whatever you want to call it, a close divide, that
it's a feature
you
film.
know
Yeah,
a feature film. Okay, good. I don't know. I'm not in
yeah,
that
mhm. Industry, yeah.
in that world. But a feature film, you got a feature film, a closer divide. I want to see it.
It's a 2 hour movie,
I
so
still
yeah,
want to see it. I sit through 2 3 hour
you do
movies.
2 hours.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, easy. I am that person that goes, and I'm in it, and I'm done, and I'm actually walking in it.
I've
That's
screened it. Yeah, I've screened it for people.
yeah.
And all the results are really interesting. The
Mm,
reactions are interesting, and that's kind of you learn so much about yourself from how you react to when others see something of yours you created. And I just like, there's not one correct way to react or anything, and so for them to react, and the general consensus is that people really like it. They could just, I mean, I usually like to show it to people who aren't afraid to be honest with me,
mm-hmm,
and but they're not rambunctious critics, but they are constructive,
mm-hmm,
where they really, well, they'll tell me what they liked and what they didn't like.
right.
But the general consensus is that it's really good, and that but I've had two people who did not like it, and I had to, so I got in a back and forth with them about what it was, and they didn't like where the movie goes,
Oh,
and
right.
they don't like, not just like how it ends. That's not, it's more complicated than that. They don't like
Mm,
what direction the movie goes and what happens with the characters. They don't like who the characters become by the end
mm,
of it. And then I'm like, wait. And I go, okay, so I go, Mike, you didn't like it. And they're like, no. There's like two people out of like maybe a dozen people I've shown it to.
right.
And then I'm like, okay, I was like, were you bored? And they're like, oh no, I wasn't bored at all.
So
They were
10
like,
out
I
of
was really
12.
invested. I was like, well, then I win. If
Yeah, 10
you
out of
weren't
12
bored, yeah.
people. 10 out of 12 people liked it.
Yeah. So
That's
far.
a good rating right there.
Rough estimate, rough estimate. But like,
Hmm.
it's not like they were just like, oh, I didn't like it. It wasn't that simple. They got really passionate about defending their side of it.
I
And
got you.
that's what was kind of beautiful about it, is that they did care about the movie. They cared about the characters, and then they did not like who they become by the end of the story. And that it could, trigger that kind of like discourse and that kind of back and forth exchange. Like, that's what I want. Like, that's good, because it's
Hmm.
all real. It feels, and the movie is not like that's like two reasons like I decided I had to finish it ultimately. Like, it made no sense to not, it didn't make any sense to not finish it, is that one, the film has a clear identity. Like, it has a very clear identity. It knows what it is, and it's like, it's content with that. It's happy with that. And the second is that lead actress and that plays my sister in the movie, it's uncanny. Like we're the two leads of the movie. We're brother and sister, and we play brother and sister, and it's just like it's like if the audience is convinced that we're brother and sister, it's going to work. It works, and then it does what I believe it needs to do, and then it's up to the audience to decide if it's for them or not.
I love
And
it.
yeah, but like the fact that the people who didn't like it were passionate about their opinions, and that they liked it a lot up until a point,
Hmm.
is like that was like a really big deal to hear, like because like the film's going to stay what it is, but that there are going to be detractors who it's not like, oh, they don't get it or anything. It's not like that. They get it, but they don't agree with it.
I
And
got
but most of the other people but most people, they totally like what I'm doing, because it's not afraid to go there. It doesn't waste your time. It actually, something happens, and it is it's gonna I think it's gonna have a lot of people talking, the more people who see it. Because again, it's so different, and because we don't have A-listers of the movie. Most of the cast is unrecognizable. Uh, and I think like that also, you don't have to suspend as much disbelief. It's it's a neat little movie. Surprisingly, that I just like was told by people like would not get finished because of this or that, or it needs to be reshot altogether and stuff like that. But no, I'm making it work, and
Mhm.
it's a really it's really going to like stand out, because
Mhm.
again, it was filmed 15 years ago. We're not updating it. I'm not updating it for 2026. No, it's a time
Right.
capsule. It was filmed in 2011. It takes place in 2011,
Oh,
and it
I
looks,
got you.
yeah.
That's good.
And
That's good.
I think people are going to are becoming. I'm not a very nostalgic person, but a lot of people are very nostalgic. And it was like, like Austin, Texas doesn't look like that anymore. Like the way
Mhm.
what I the pickup
Yeah, if you
shots I got.
updated it would definitely take away the time capsule.
Yeah, so I'm not desperate to be irrelevant in that sense. It's just, does it feel authentic? And I think that's what more people are going to be interested in anyway,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everything can look like a Super Bowl commercial. Everything can look like it's filmed like it's for the Super Bowl, like it's for the commercial break of a Super Bowl. But
Mhm.
like this, yeah, where if it's like overproduced and high resolution. This is high res. I mean, it's a 4K movie, but it was. I don't think the budget hurts the film. I don't think the low budget is bringing out the limitations in a bad way. And it's I don't think people are going to be able to compare it to very many things, and that's like really scary. And but it's also exciting,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
yeah, because there are people who are really not going to like it. They're really, really not going to like it. But I
Well,
think
that's okay.
most people who see it will be on board. They will be on board,
Well,
because and it's like it's not like anything they've really seen before.
mhm. Well,
I'm starting to feel more, this is the first time ever in the 15 years I've been making that I had abandoned the movie or not, whether I was still a champion of it or not. This is the first time I actually feel good about it. Never
that's
felt good
good.
about this movie.
Well, I
Um,
think you should feel good about it.
because it was a negative experience, and I didn't want to make movies anymore after
Mm.
it for years. And it was a that doesn't mean everybody else had a negative experience. I had a negative experience making the movie, and I didn't even know what I wanted to do anymore. And so,
Mm.
but I took enough time away. Time can heal a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. And I can't wait for it closer. It's a close divide,
it's a close divide.
to come out in the theaters or wherever it may come out so
It's
that I can
yeah,
watch it.
yeah. Hopefully there'll be some at least at the very least a limited theatrical release, because it would be wild to see it in a theater.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
That would be wild. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Jesse, for being on the show. I appreciate it. We're going to put the link to your IMDb so people can see the
Cool.
trailer. It's there, right?
Thank
The
you.
trailer's there, and there's like an interview there and
There
everything.
might be a link to the there's videos that kind of might signal to like some rough trailers I did. I don't have anything current. I
Mhm.
kind of showing off like what I did 15 years ago, because I
But
did
that's
promotional
good.
stuff.
It's a time capsule.
Hmm.
It's
Exactly.
a time capsule, and that's the way it should be. Jesse,
I
thank
agree.
you so much for being on the show. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Listen, we're going to put the link in the description so that you can be able to see this and check it out for yourself. And I want you to keep up and make your comments below so that we can push Jesse to do this on time.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, ADHD.
It
It's
is. It definitely is. And I always need the time. I always need the time. If I have like a deadline, then
yeah.
I can get it done. If I don't have a deadline, it's never getting done.
Don't you hate like how we don't have enough time to like we run out of time to do all the things we like there's so many things I want to do and I'm like life's not long enough to be able to do all the things I want and
No,
how you can't get everything done
no,
makes me crazy. Like
it
yeah,
does. It does. It makes me crazy too. I'm like, you got to decide, and I don't want to.
yeah,
Why should I put a limit on my talent?
yeah, it's brutal
It's
sometimes.
crazy. It's cruel, and there's not enough time. And I think that's what messes us up because we are
Yeah,
we want to do it. We want to do it all. I want to do
yeah,
it all. I want to do everything that I can do. I want to do it all.
mhm,
And there's just not enough time to decide to do it all.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
It's harsh
It is
reality.
very much so harsh. Well, if you guys are suffering from ADHD and you feel the same way, go ahead and comment below and let us know what your goals are and what you've decided to actually stick to because it is a harsh reality. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys again. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye. Thank you for watching.